Good morning and thanks for tuning in to the TGM weekly market video. Today we're here at our corporate headquarters of TGM at 405 South Banker, and we're going to take you on a little voyage today to highlight our account payable and accounting group. So let's go on in here.
Morning, Terry.
Good morning. All right, so here I'm joined by, we have Ann Vogt, who's our account payable specialist, and also Claire Meddy, who's our accounting assistant or associate. And to start out with, let's just highlight these two key employees of TGM. So Ann, why don't you start? Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how long you've been with TGM?
Terry, I have been with TGM for 16 years. I get all the expenses ready to pay. It's a process, but it's gotten well oiled over 16 years.
So 16 years. I think TGM's only been in existence as the Total Grain Marketing LLC for 20 or 21. So Ann's been around for most of that time frame. Outside of that, like, you know, we know your role or ish. Like, why do you show up to work? What do you like the most about coming and working for TGM?
I like the other employees. I like to be around the other employees, you know, just seeing how their days are going, you know, what's going on in their lives. We're all busy, you know, we're taking care of the farmers, and, you know, that's our job, to be here for the farmers. But I like to be able to get away from my desk and go see the other employees and see how their days are going.
I think that's reciprocal, right? I think as a healthy workplace, it's nice to have that friendly, you know, visiting between each other and that kind of collaborativeness. But okay, back to your role. Like, so you're AP specialist, you're paying the bills. How many payments per month, or let's say, are you doing on average?
Oh, dang. I'd say probably around 1,000, maybe a little over, a little under.
1,000 payments. I have like 5 bills a month, and that's enough for me. So wow. But if you had to total these up, like, can you give us an estimate, like how many dollars? Like,
we're in the millions.
In the millions. Okay. Wow, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I guess I need to get back to trading.
And I have some great help. So, yes.
That's fair. Okay. Well, so that's Ann. Now we're going to move over here. This is Claire Meddy. Like I said, she's our accounting assistant associate. Claire, why don't you tell us about yourself and your role and your history here at TGM as well?
Hi, I'm Claire Meddy. I've been here for 3 years. And I live in T-Town, and my favorite part of this job is my helpful coworkers that sit by me every day. If I have a question, they're very helpful. And the pension is probably pretty nice too.
Yeah, we all hope to retire someday,
Yeah.
so that is a nice fact. But so Claire, she works alongside with Melissa, who's not here today, but they are really in charge of everything, or responsible for accounting for all the moves within TGM. So every truck that goes out, every rail car that goes out, at the same point, somewhat of the inbound traffic is also accounted for through this system. And so as we've grown as a company, you know, in volume and size and whatnot, you know, we're really just putting more on these individuals here in this office to make that efficiency happen and go ahead and keep all that books reconciled there. So spotlight again today to the TGM accounting group. We have our controller, assistant controller, also not here today, but you know, they make sure the bills are paid, the bank accounts are reconciled, we have enough money to use to make sure everybody's paid in a timely fashion. So a lot going on here within TGM accounting world. And so with that, I'll turn it over and I'll talk briefly about the markets, not to drag on too long, but as the markets are concerned, it was pretty quiet for the week. So we had May corn down 9 3/4, we had May soybeans up 4 1/4, and we had May wheat down 6 3/4. The story for the week was really the Tuesday, March 31st planting intentions report along with the grain stocks report. And so last year we planted 98.8 million acres of corn. This year the prospective plantings intention is 95.3. That was slightly above the average trade guess at 94.5. On the soybean side, last year we planted 81.2 million acres. This year the intention is 84.7, a little bit less than pre-report estimates. And so when I look at the acres as a whole, not a whole lot to talk about there, well within the expected ranges. What I do find interesting though is it's also the quarterly stocks report. That's where we get a look at every quarter of if the grain is disappearing or not disappearing, what we have in inventory. And the one takeaway from that is we've been questioning this huge demand from the feed side without all these new feed animals on feed. And so the question was, are we actually feeding that amount of corn, right? So last year we fed 5.4 billion. This year the projection is for 6.2 billion. And so every 4 months or every 3 months when we do this quarterly report, we get our look at what implied disappearance was, right? Is the corn leaving the way we intended it to be? And the answer to this report was yes, it is. It came in roughly 100 million bushels below the pre-report estimate. And so whether the animals are on feed or not, we're feeding them heavier. The corn is disappearing is the moral of the story. And so when I think of that from a constructive nature, it does tell me that you have the disappearance from feed, we have a strong ethanol grind still, and the exports are on fire. And so we're firing on all cylinders still in the corn market. That could lead to some explosive moves here this spring and summer season if there's any hiccups at all as far as getting the crop planted or weather delays. So with that, not to belabor anymore, I know the video is getting long. Happy Easter to you all, and thanks for tuning in.